morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Coming with you guys, bring you some more fitness. All right. Starting off with some mobility, we have pecs and lats. All right. So we're going to start off with our pecs. And this is a nice little stretch because it's going to give us a little bit of T-spine work, but it's also going to give us our pec as well. Okay. So you're going to kind of start in your fetal position. And I want you to bring that arm up and over. Ooh, back crack. That felt great. And then try and bring that back as far as you can. And then back over, okay? So as you come back, you're trying to turn your thumb back as well. Back over, press, and then come back, okay? Now as you're doing this, I want you to try and pretend that you have your knees up against a wall. If you want to put them up against a wall, that's just fine. Because what we don't want is that knee to come across and that top knee to lift up. We want to try and keep those guys pressed together the whole time, and that's going to block that low back a little bit so we can get a bit more into the T-spine and into the pec, okay? So I want you guys to do about 10 of those on each side. You will notice very quickly that one side is tighter than the other, okay? From there, we'll go into lats, all right? Pretty simple. We've done this guy in class before. One hand on the post. This is your pressing hand. And then one hand over the top. This is your pulling hand, all right? And all I want you to do is play a little game of peekaboo, all right? So you're trying to push your hips out with this bottom hand and then just try and hold on with that top hand, okay? If you feel like that's not quite giving you enough of a stretch, you bring yourself underneath and then really just kind of move around in there and you'll be able to find one spot that gives you a real good stretch into that lat. And we're looking to hang out there for probably about 45 seconds or a minute. Okay, so probably do each of those maybe 1-2 times if you feel like there's a really good stretch, and then we can move on to our structural balance from there. Okay, our first movement we're doing for structural balance is a bent knee calf raise. Okay, the normal calf raise that we do, like if you think about like all of our pulling movements, like when we're doing like a high pull or stuff like that, we are pulling from a straight leg, and that's going to be a lot more of your gastroc, kind of that upper calf. All right. So with a bent knee calf raise, we're going to get a lot more into the soleus. That's kind of like your Achilles type area. Now we're doing this in the rig because the way you're setting this up, you're going to tend to lean back a little bit. It's going to be really hard to do this without supporting yourself. So you go into like, on like a stair, or if you have plates, then use a plate. It's nice. It has a nice bend, so you can kind of wrap your toes around that. And then what I want you to do is just kind of go into like a real partial squat, just to bend those knees. And then from there, you're going to try and drop your heels down and then push your heels up nice and high, okay? So it's going to feel a little silly, but it's just going to work our calves in a way that's a little bit different that we don't really get access to when we just do like our normal weightlifting movements or our standard calf raise, okay? So you are doing 15 reps of this, 1-5, okay? This is going to make you sore in a bit of a different way than we would normally get. Kind of think about skipping. We're also nice and straight in those knees as well. So it's going to be a little bit different, okay? Now, from there, we're going to go into a sliding Kosak squat, okay? So Chris is going to come in. We have our handy dandy slider plus carpet here. All right, so for our sliding Kosak squat, what we're looking to do is we're going to be loading up that left adductor as we slide down and out. And then we're going to push down to pull ourselves back in, okay? So we don't want to do this as like a pistol. We don't want our right leg to do all the work. We're trying to drop down and then trying to slide our feet together, okay? So just be careful doing this one. We don't want you to go too far. And if you try and create tension from too big of a stretch, you could pull your adductor, okay? So for your first set, maybe your first 2 sets, don't be too aggressive, but still try and get a good stretch in there and still be able to stand back up, all right? So you are going 12 per leg of the Kosak squat, and you are doing 15 for the bent knee calf raise, okay? So you are going to be doing 4 sets through that, and that should give you a pretty good amount of spice in those legs to get you going, okay? Now, from there, we go into our WOD, all right? This one is a spicy one today. You're gonna get a mega shoulder burn in this, okay? So it's all going to start off with a hand release push-up, all right? One of the most benign looking exercises, but is actually super sneaky hard, okay? So we're getting chest right down to the floor, and then hands come off the floor, and then push back up, all right? So looks simple, not really. What we're trying to work on here is we want to make sure at the bottom these knees stay up off the floor, okay? If your knees bend and touch the floor, what you're going to naturally do is start to worm yourself up a little bit, and you lose a bit of that tension through your core, okay? So we keep those knees nice and tight. If you want to take it one level farther, try and keep your quads off the floor. So really the only thing that touches is your rib cage. It's going to make it a lot more challenging for the shoulders. And then the last piece is just making sure that there's no worming as you're pushing yourself up. As we get fatigued, worming might happen, but try your best to keep that away, all right? Now, if you feel like the hand release push-up is just a little bit too easy for you, you can go into a handstand push-up, but let's maybe not kick up too aggressively so you put holes in your walls. If you have like an unfinished basement or something like that, that's a good place to do it. Or if you do want to do it inside, put up a piece of plywood and then find some place to anchor it on the wall, just so you're not going to put your feet through your wall or kind of scratch your paint, that kind of stuff. All right. Now, from there we go into a dumbbell snatch. All right. Now, the different thing about the dumbbell snatch in this workout is there's no alternating of the arms. Okay. You are going to do all 21 on one side. And then you are going to do all 21 on the other side, all right? So I don't care which arm you start with, but whatever you start with, you got to finish those 21 before you go into the 21 on the other side, all right? Then from there, we have our dumbbell plank row, and we're doing the exact same thing as we do with the snatches. You got to do all 21 on one side before you can do all 21 on the other side, all right? Now, if you feel like this is just super awkward with having your hand on the floor and you feel like you can't get a good range of motion with that dumbbell, feel free to put your hand up on like a bench, a stool, on a stair, something like that, just to give you a bit more range to be able to do that. But we want to make sure that we're not twisting our hips back and forth as we're going through that movement, okay? So it's going to be 21 hand release push-ups / handstand push-ups, 21 dumbbell snatches on the right, 21 dumbbell snatches on the left, and then 21 dumbbell rows on the right, 21 dumbbell rows on the left, and then 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Okay, so it's going to be a pretty spicy one for the upper body, but let's really make sure when we're doing those dumbbell snatches especially, that we're keeping that low back flat, okay? Volume is pretty high, so we want to make sure that we're not risking that low back as we get into kind of those twisting movements, all right? So I will see you guys live, and we will do this workout together. Have a good rest of your day, you guys. See you later.